What's going on, guys? Mickle here, and in this video I am bringing you some breaking Ripple and XRP news. Guys, the SEC is getting absolutely destroyed right now. There are some new documents filed today. I'm going to show you the exact situation the SEC is in, and I'm going to tell you right now it is looking very bad for them. We actually broke some news last night, got it to Charles Gasparino. This case is falling apart for the SEC, and I'm going to get into exactly why that is the case. There was also a massive hearing today in front of the Senate, all about crypto. I'm going to be bringing you guys the highlights. This is not an update you are going to want to miss. If you guys are new to this channel or come here all the time, make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out so much in the YouTube algorithm and helps more people like you see the video. Anyway, guys, with that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you enjoy it. Alrighty, guys, before we get into the new documents filed in the Ripple SEC case today, you guys have to see this. This was pretty hilarious. This is Jeremy Allaire, the CEO of Circle. He was testifying in front of the Senate today in a crypto hearing. We'll get into that later. It was crazy. I'm going to show you guys the best parts, but you guys have to see this. Look at Jeremy Allaire's water cup right here. You cannot tell me that is not the XRP logo right here. I could not believe it when I saw this. He literally has a cup with the XRP logo on it, front and center on his desk during this hearing, directly facing the camera. I have no idea if this is just some crazy coincidence or this is some Easter egg he was trying to throw in, but I thought this was absolutely hilarious, especially since he has two different cups on his desks. It's like he had to know that he was putting this cup on his desk, and this little logo on it looked exactly like the XRP logo. Anyway, I thought that was pretty crazy, and let's jump right into the Ripple SEC court case. So essentially what was going on today was the court essentially went to Ripple and the SEC and said, look, there was this rule change in the middle of this court case. I need you guys to write me both a little brief memo saying why this rule change or how this rule change affects the documents Ripple was trying to get to the SEC. They're both giving a chance to argue their side, and like we could very likely expect, the SEC pretty much used this memo to go to the judge and say, pretty much with this rule change, pretty much everything Ripple was asking for should no longer be allowed, and all the documents Ripple wants should be denied. Pretty much this is what the SEC always does. They make up rules, they say whatever they can to try to just get everything wiped off the table. The reason why they're doing this is because they know they are caught in a massive lie, and Ripple directly points this out in their argument to the judge. This is actually something that we were going over in the video prior to this, and actually a story that I worked to help break to Charles Gasparino. So let me show you guys exactly what that is. This is pretty massive because one of the biggest parts in this rule change is the fact that Ripple can now only get these documents if the documents didn't pertain to actually SEC policy. But here's the little, let me say, ripple in this entire argument. The SEC is actually arguing that they haven't made any rules on Ethereum or Bitcoin. So therefore, based on their own argument, Ripple should be allowed to get these documents. So the SEC is really in a catch-22. They don't want to say they've ruled on Bitcoin and Ethereum because that would make this whole lawsuit on XRP seem absurd. But at the same time, if they cannot get away with not giving over the documents unless it was their thought that Bitcoin and Ethereum, or if they did make a ruling on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So the Ripple lawyers say the SEC cannot have it both ways. If the Hinman speech was not in a communication of agency policy, then any deliberation regarding that speech is not entitled based on the new rule change. What they're saying is it was either the SEC's idea that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities, and therefore, if that's the case, well, we can argue this differently later on, but then we might not be able to get to the documents. But what the SEC is saying is they never said any of this. This was all William Hinman's personal opinion, and therefore Ripple should 100% get all of these documents. It is an absolute catch-22 that the SEC is in right now, and I just want to point out the important part to know is this isn't happening for no reason. This is happening because the SEC is tangled in a massive web of lies. They have no idea where to go anymore because every single time they try to lie, they catch themselves in a new situation, and that's what's happening here. They're literally trying to argue that Ripple shouldn't get these documents, but at the same time are trying to lie about this whole speech because they know either way they go now, it's going to hurt their case. They're either caught lying or they're forced to admit that this entire time they did give guidance on Ethereum and Bitcoin, and they just literally sat there and ignored XRP. Either way, this is going to drastically hurt their lawsuit. And if we take a look at what Jeremy Hogan said about this, he said the SEC cannot have it both ways. If the Hinman speech was not a communication of agency policy, then any deliberation regarding the speech is not entitled to any DPP protection, which is essentially the new ruling. He said, and that may be the phrase that wins the day for Ripple. I completely agree. And if we take a look at what else is buzzing in the XRP community, we can see that the tweet I brought to this whole narrative the other day is directly playing into this ruling right here. We see that on an SEC document, the commission is directly taking credit for William Hinman's speech. This is a fact. It's on multiple documents. The SEC has taken credit for William Hinman's speech, yet despite that, throughout this entire case, they make it very clear on the record, there is no action that the SEC took to say Bitcoin is not a security, Ether is not a security. This is a blatant lie, and that is why the SEC is stuck in this crazy situation, because they literally cannot admit the fact that they did take credit for William Hinman's speech. That is why right now Ripple is literally telling them you cannot have it both ways. That's not how this works. They are calling them out for lying. They're calling them out for flipping their argument back and forth, and this is going to backfire. I also want to point out that this is also being broken by Charles Gasparino, and he is saying, as of today, the official position of the SEC appears to be that the agency has made no official announcement on the status of Bitcoin and Ethereum to whether they are unregulated securities. Court documents shows. Pretty amazing that the commission holds this view, and he's essentially saying exactly what I said before. How could they be taking this view that they never made this statement if they literally have articles made by the agency directly saying that they take credit for this speech? It makes no sense, and that's why the SEC is getting absolutely wrecked right now. Well, there was actually a court hearing today, and it was awesome for crypto and even better for Ripple. We can see people like Tom Emmer said a light touch regulatory approach will allow the crypto industry to grow and thrive in the United States. This is a sentiment that almost all the senators had. I thought this was awesome, but I want to show you guys the best two clips I found from this hearing, because I think you guys need to see these if you did not see this hearing. First one's right here.
Well, I really appreciate that question. That is the most important issue in the short term for the industry. And so let me just pick up where Mrs. Wagner left off. If the question is the current test clear? It's clear in the sense that we know what it is. It's not clear in that it's a four-factor balancing test. So I often think about what like the U.S. trucking industry would be like if the truckers didn't know that the speed limit was 75 miles an hour. They just had a four-factor test of general safety having to do with how much sleep they got the night before, the overall size of their payload, and other factors. People need to know what the speed limit is. In my old agency, the OCC...
Boom, right there. That is the problem with this case. Ripple is getting sued based on laws that don't exist, and everyone knows it. The SEC is trying to hold this charade together to keep their lawsuit alive, but everyone knows they aren't making any sense, and it's because they're trying to argue rules that don't exist. And everyone in this Senate hearing knows that was the case, and they were directly saying it out in the open and essentially slapping the SEC in the face, saying nothing they're saying makes any sense, and that's why this is all so ridiculous. Let me show you this other clip.
In my old agency, the OCC, what would happen is a bank would come to us with a new activity proposal, and we would give them an answer. We would either give them a non-objection or we would not give them a non-objection, and it was very clear whether they would be allowed to access that. What happens in the United States is you have a new crypto project and you walk into the SEC and you describe it in great detail and you ask for guidance and they say, we can't tell you, and you list it at your own peril.
The absurdity that this is showing is wild. These guys are literally in front of the Senate saying that the SEC is making it impossible for crypto to thrive in the United States. They're directly telling everyone there that there is no way to work with the SEC right now. And how do you think it makes them look in their lawsuit against Ripple? They are suing one of the most legitimate companies in the industry. Meanwhile, every single person in the Senate, all these different crypto CEOs are saying, how would they have known any of these laws because they never existed? Ripple was doing their best to do the right thing, but the fact of the matter was it was impossible to comply with the SEC because the SEC didn't even know how you could comply. The SEC could have filed this lawsuit against anyone because they're charging Ripple based on rules that didn't exist. I hope that's enough ranting for now. Last thing I want to show you, pretty cool news. Bank XRP put this out. This is a Goldman Sachs article essentially pointing out opportunities in the fintech realm. Circle, Ripple, and Coinbase. I'm investing in both Circle and Ripple, two of my favorite companies. I love Circle. I love XRP. When Ripple goes public, I will be loading up on Ripple. Both of these are awesome. This document's on my Twitter. Make sure you go to my Twitter. Follow me there. You can read this thing up and down. Thank you guys so much for coming. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. It really does help me so much. Thank you for coming again. For now, Mickle out.